Hello and welcome to Master Manual, a practical guide for DMs, GMs, and just wanna BMs and other folks too. This is a practical guide for what is this? No, it's not a practical guide. It already was a practical guide.
For DMs.
This is now a podcast where
Yes.
we discuss and answer questions regarding role-playing games such as 5th edition
Merry Christmas.
of Dungeons and Dragons. It's already the new year.
No, it's Christmas time.
It's not.
Can't you hear those sleigh bells?
No, it's post-Christmas, and it'll be
hear
poster
the
Christmas by the time
sleigh
this comes
bells
out.
jingling.
You've already
Ring,
returned
ding,
from a
dingling.
trip relating to Christmas and
Yes.
centering around that.
That's true, and I have another Christmas coming. I'm spreading it all out this year, man.
That's not how things. What?
Okay,
You have another Christmas coming?
Yeah, we can talk about it in a second. But first,
No,
who
let's
are
dive
you?
into that.
You're Spencer Crittenden.
And I'm Cohen Edenfield,
No, that's me.
and you're having a second Christmas.
Yeah,
You're the Hobbit of holiday
it's
cheer.
true. No, I was up in Seattle visiting my friend Casey, who I DM. She's in the group that I DM for on Skype. Spent some time up there. We watched a lot of the television program Deep Space Nine. I hadn't seen it before, any of it, or indeed any Star Trek at all. So it was new,
Right.
and exciting.
I was
for
going
me.
to say that was Star Trek, right? That's a Star
Yes.
Trek series.
It is apparently not. People say it's the one that's not really Star Trek. Maybe that's why I like it.
It's the one deepest in space, to be
Mm-hmm.
sure.
It's the one where they don't go to a lot of different locations, but kind of stay in the same area, and people
Mhm.
come to them, which allows for, like, it's the main guy. The main guy is not a captain, He's
Right.
he's commander of the station, but there's like civilians there, and there's like a little space goblin guy who's like running the bar. He's great. His
What
name's
race
Quark.
is he?
He's a Ferengi.
A Ferengi.
They're problematic.
Right. I've read about these.
Yeah, me too. And there's Odo. He's a shapeshifter, and he's also like a constable, and he's fun. So I'm just learning as I go, having lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's Dax. She's got a parasite in her body that has 7 other lifetimes of experience in it. And they like pass
Whoa.
the parasite on for. Yeah, it's like it's
That's fun.
yeah, it's given me a lot of fun ideas. You draw from different wells. You experience different sources of media, and makes you a better storyteller and creator.
Let's hope. Otherwise, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Have you been experiencing any media lately?
Oh, yeah.
Wild horses?
Wild Horses is my favorite improv comedy group based out of L.A.
Your favorite?
All females. Yeah, they're great. They're doing a show with Eliza Skinner at Dynasty Typewriter, January 13th, I think.
Well, I'll be damned.
So
I'll try to get
tickets
out
are on
there.
sale.
Okay.
So I think what you're getting at is I've been trying to play Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, how's it going?
It's going okay. We were talking about how I think thematically the game's about how the days of outlaws and the open range are over, and civilization and law and cities are coming.
Uh-huh.
And it's supposed to be like a bummer, but as a result, the game can be a bummer to play, and that is not fun, because that's like, oh man, what if we made this game called Smash Your Hand with a Hammer? And it's just like, it's all about the pain of smashing your hand in a hammer. It's going to be so immersive. People will have this pain gauntlet. They'll feel the pain.
Well, at least it's only like a few hours, right? It's not
Well,
a very long game.
Yeah, no, it's I've been playing it for weeks and weeks. It's fun. I mean, video games, just you want to explore the world and you want to see the story, even, no matter how invested you are, there's just kind of like a completion element to like, I wonder what happens next. So I'm kind of along for the ride. It takes me taking me a lot of fits and starts, but I'm going through it. But it's a bummer, because it's just, they really beating you over the head with, yeah, you're a criminal and those days are come to a pass. And it's like, yeah, and and I feel bad. I ran over a dog. It's like a bummer.
On your horse?
Yeah.
Or in a car? Are there cars?
No. You could like carjack. There's wagons. You can steal wagons and sell them.
How fast are the wagons? Faster than horses?
Generally a little bit.
That doesn't really make any sense.
Well, they kind of have a higher acceleration, and they don't tire as easily, so you can maintain kind of like a higher general speed without sprinting the horse.
But aren't they still pulled by a horse?
Yeah, but usually multiple. So I think they're sharing the load, and so it's like, but also who even knows? I mean, I think they're pulling more of a weight than one horse is pulling when you're just riding on a horse. So, but then also there's a wheel. So who even knows how all the physics comes together? But it's fun. I just cut my character's hair. He was bald for a while, and I was like, whoa, this guy looks bald and weird, because he kind of looks like Sawyer from Lost, I guess, but bald. That looks like that's weird as fuck.
That doesn't sound like it would be an improvement for that fella. He had long, good hair.
Oh, yeah.
He liked his beautiful hair.
I had really long hair and a big old beard, and then I took hair growth formula to make my hair longer and my beard longer, and then it wasn't getting much longer, and I was like, well, fuck this. And then I had to shave it all for mission. Anyway, I also, you don't know this, but I also played Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I saw fit to test out the system of what is it called? Roll20, right?
Yeah.
The system that I panned for sucking. And it has a lot of problems, but I came away more impressed. So
they've like improved the program a bit in like the decades since the last time you used it.
I think that I had it mixed up with Fantasy Grounds, which I assume they've also improved vastly in the intervening time. But Fantasy Grounds at the time was a real bummer for me, so that's what I was talking about, and I mistook it for Roll20 when we discussed it prior on the show.
Well, I'm glad we've managed to insult two different online D&D platforms.
Oh yeah, I'm rolling deep and piling heaps.
Yeah,
but
heaps of burned bridges.
Roll20, oh man, it has some problems, but it's great.
Are you reading from the marketing copy right now?
I just think that they could clean up the UI a bit and then make the tutorial a bit better, because it just doesn't set you off with the tools to succeed. Anyway, I bought the Dragon Heist, Waterdeep Dragon Heist module for $50, the same price as the hardcover book. And I'll tell you, more than half of the encounters in the book were not in the module that I paid the same amount for.
Oh, no.
And I'll tell you, I was frustrated about that. So I had to manually reconstruct the maps using a combination of tools on the internet and various means to try and build out the maps onto the app, which was a great learning experience to use the app. And I learned the features, and it was really fun to use. After I got the hang of it, I was like, man, I could see people who have a good tile set for what they're going for could really knock this out of the park. It was a lot of fun. We got in there. We had character sheets. You can click on you click like athletics on your character sheet, and it rolls an athletics check. You click on a weapon attack and it rolls the attack, and if it hits, you can click on the weapon again and it rolls damage. There's a lot of helpful tools in there that are fun. You can click on the board and it highlights where you clicked, and other people I could be like, I go to the door, and I'm like, what door? And they're like, click this door, and we're like, oh, that door.
That's pretty fun.
It ends up being a very functional tool. The problem is it's in a browser, and there's a back button on the browser, you're always in danger of accidentally scrolling backward using the touch gesture of the MacBook.
Oh, well, it sounds like that's a problem with MacBooks.
The MacBook touch gesture, which in the future I may disable for that. But overall, it was pretty fun. It was pretty easy to add tokens and then put a stat block into the tokens. So I just, I copied the monster manual. I was just like HP, AC, the positive stat modifiers, and then the attacks and special. And it was just like 3 or 4 lines. And then that was the monster, and it was done. And then I could appear at the monster, and then I could put like a box on the floor. I don't know. It was great. It was free. Oh boy. I bought that module. It was a ripoff. Don't buy that. But that wasn't Roll20's fault. That was the fault of the content creator.
Maybe I should look into this for my own Skype-based gaming thing that I do, which I have not done for a while, but we're going to be starting back up this month, I think, in January.
What is that? Is it a secret?
No, it's the one that I run. The game that I run, the Sonic one.
Damn.
Yeah, we've been off for between work and different people were moving. Somebody went to China.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a tumultuous winter/autumn for our group, but we're going to be getting back into it soon, and I will let you know what it is like to pick up the threads of a D&D game that has not been played for a couple of months.
Yeah, man, and someone went to China.
Yeah, wasn't me. I only went to Seattle, which is where two of the people live. One of them was out of town, but he wasn't in China. Anyway,
My girlfriend became the moon.
That's rough, buddy.
Let's do improv for humans.
Oh yeah.
What's that thing? UC, B&D.
Yeah, that was very clever.
No. Yeah, it was.
Because I came up with it.
I remember you coming up with it, and then I was like, UC second City, and then but yours was better. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was great. Mine, I mean, better just in play.
If you would come up with it, you would hate it.
I think that's the best. What do you call it? Formulation of that concept that could be made. You know, I mean, someone could pitch me on a better one, but I would be hard pressed to find a better version, honestly. So
I appreciate it.
Anyway,
what's the rule? This
one is a different set of rules. This is David Alger's first 10 rules of improv. So the first 4 we've already covered.
Okay.
Going into number 5, focus on the here and now. Another useful rule is to keep the focus on the here and now. A scene is about the people in the scene. The change, the struggle, the win, the loss will happen to the characters on the stage. Focus on what's going right at this moment. So I want to relate that to my approach is generally, I kind of think that, I don't know, I focus on this a lot. Maybe it's a strength or a weakness, but I oftentimes forget like anything I'm planning. Mm-hmm. When something's happening in the scene, like when something's happening in the moment, I'm just trying to like roll with the actions of the players and just do whatever they want. And I think that can be bad because you lose the momentum of what you're trying to do and kind of how you want to steer the players. But it can be good because it's just you're purely kind of like following their action and they kind of feel like really engaged. But again, on the negative side, I think it can also make them feel like they don't know what they're supposed to be doing after a while if they're kind of just spinning out.
Example.
So if you're letting someone investigate and they're investigating in a way you didn't expect, and even if you're trying to throw clues that you're having to improvise to give them direction, they might interpret those clues the wrong way and go farther and farther away from where you want. And then you're like, oh, well, I got to keep going where they're going. You're not like, how am I going to get them back onto this plot that gets them into this building? You know? And so then you're just following the direction and then you're just stuck if you want to get them back on track. But I think that's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. I don't know. I'm high, you guys.
Are you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yes.
Oh, whatever. You know what? Listeners, believe whatever will endear you to Spencer Moore.
But don't drink while high.
I won't.
You know?
I haven't.
I guess you will.
Nearly
yeah.
3 years.
But you guys don't either.
Yeah, unless you live in a state where that's legal. There are some.
Do you have any thoughts on being in the present? Focus on the here and now?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that players can tell when you are getting frustrated and trying to push them into a different place. And that can make them feel like they're playing the game wrong. Right. Which is the thing that you should always try to avoid making people feel like.
Yeah, I think if you're focusing on trying to get the story moving, you're not necessarily focusing heavily on what they're doing and how to get that. And I think that that's a really important part of being a DM is being able to turn around results so that they feel empowered and that their actions have reactions and they're not just kind of waiting for people to talk. Because there's a negative aspect to D&D that's just waiting for various people to talk until the next actual thing can happen. But that's a feeling that happens when you're frustrated. You know, if you're engaged, you don't view it like that. You're like, oh my God, this is exciting. So the more you focus on trying to keep immersion and keep focus on the here and now, I think the more invested people will be. Anyway, you want to crack into Helging Cruciforms.
Hell yeah, I want to crack into Helga Cruciform.
Oh yeah, Kraken.
All right, Helga Cruciform Kraken edition.
Okay.
This week, All of them have to be names that would work for Krakens. Ready, set, go.
Mary Rylea.
Lucifrex.
Corloriolorv.
The Coral King.
Branson the Crusted Barnes.
Marianocles.
Fulruniothio.
Sideways. He's sideways.
Macaroni Duvins. I don't know.
The Seventh Terror.
Oh yeah. Korthnags. The Wise Deep.
Oceanus, the Tide Whisperer.
Blessed Rot, the Warp Touched.
That's good. Okay.
No,
that's really good.
No.
Abyssal Alyssa.
Stoneazenth, the Trench Touched her. The Trench Toucher.
Vesuvia, the Vesuvia, the submerged.
And that was Helga Cruciform.
We hope you enjoyed it.
I hope you. I was gonna say penjoyed it. I hate myself. But maybe instead of hating ourselves, we can answer questions.
Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. We should try to do that more often.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you so much for sending in questions. If you want to send us a question, it's mastermanualitpod@gmail.com.
And please do. We love your questions.
Right.
All right. This person wishes to be anonymous. Okay. I hope this
Thank
email
you.
finds you well.
Oh, and if you want to be anonymous, let us know.
Yes, please do. I'm curious how to make a campaign truly terrifying. I'm currently running a Lovecraftian-based game, but many Lovecraftian horrors are unnameable, indescribable, and unknowable, which is hard when you are playing a game where literally everything is described. Any tips? I was thinking of having a timer going with some loud, unsettling music playing, trying to induce a sense of panic, but I don't want it to seem silly. There's also some questions about a question about how to stat out some unbeatable horrors, but I think that can kind of play into the other thing.
Yeah, so I just want to, my good friend Ivan, who used to write, but I don't think he's actively writing anymore, so hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing. He had this idea for an MMORPG where it was like Cthulhu Wild West with vampires.
All right.
And I think there was 3 factions, kind of like a cultist faction, like a cowboy faction, and like a vampire faction or something. And they're just, like they're just trying to enact their own goals in the West. And I don't know why I brought that up.
No, it sounds fun.
Oh, brain connection. That's why.
Oh yeah.
I just think that's a cool concept. Isn't the Peel doing some sort of Wild West? No, I guess it's like Civil War times Cthulhu stuff, right? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Do you have any ideas?
Well, okay, so what I'm getting from this and the fact that the person has to be anonymous is that this is not an upfront like Lovecraft thing. That is secret Lovecraft. And there is another game that does there's a video game, a very popular video game. I think the secret is kind of out at this point. It is a game, I'm going to say it.
Don't say it.
Seconds.
Don't say it. Spoiler alert. Don't say it.
All
say
right.
it.
It's Bloodborne.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So Bloodborne plays its cards pretty close at first. Like you just wake up somewhere and like a werewolf attacks, and then you go out into the street and there's just people in a mob in the street and you got to avoid them, and it very gradually lets on that there's these otherworldly horrors that are not just like big werewolves and stuff.
Victorian monsters.
Right. Specifically, it lets on there's eventually tentacles coming down from the sky and stuff, and big
That's cool.
squid monsters who you gain the ability to see gradually over time.
I didn't know that about Bloodborne.
Yeah, it kicks ass. Very good game. Very difficult. But I love it. I'm very good at it. I can breeze through it now because it is suited to the way that I play games, which is aggressively, and I don't like to block.
Damn.
Yeah, and
I also don't like the block.
You recover health by doing damage, so there's an incentive to stay in the fight. I think that the way to handle this stuff is not to try to describe everything. It's sort of to do the same thing that Lovecraft did, which is to give hints, but to be better than Lovecraft, because Lovecraft kind of always sort of hits the same beat, which is, and then it was so crazy I couldn't even tell you, man. It was really nuts. So just do better.
So okay.
Think about how things are supposed to be and make them a little different. That's what they call unheimlich, or the uncanny.
The uncanny.
Unheimlich. Unheimlich is the German. It is literally the feeling of not being at home.
The unheimlich.
Yeah. It is both to be at home and to not be at home.
It's when you pull on someone's stomach and food slides down their throat.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that in terms of establishing a horror or crazy tone, any sort of specific tone that you want to set, it requires buy-in from your group, because if you want to set a horror tone and your group is in a horror mood, it just doesn't really click, and it like your concepts like that are for horror like can turn funny, or people just react to them humorously. So that can be hard. So you want to make sure that people are at least in that kind of mode. I don't know how you can establish that. There's this book for $3.5 that I sold it on Amazon, so I don't own it anymore. But it's called Heroes of Horror. It was a 3.5 splat book that talked a lot about various ways to establish horrific and scary themes. Did Curse of Strahd, do you think, go into like how to be scary at all as a DM kind of thing?
I assume. I have been holding off on reading that because I want to play it really bad.
So maybe I'll look into that. And you know what? Tweet at us if you know the answer. If hashtag Curse of Scare, if it did.
Yeah, please.
Or
We're
if
it's searching that.
I will. I'm writing it down. Okay. So in terms of unknowable stuff, I think you have to pick a take. Like, if it means it looks like eyes are appearing on surfaces that seem to warp like reality itself, like maybe it's that. Or if it's something that you can't look away from for being an unspeakable horror, but it draws you in, maybe it's that.
Yeah, I'd say start small. For sure, which it sounds like this person has done, because they mentioned that like this is a campaign that's ongoing.
Right.
Establish there's a game called Silent Hill 4: The Room.
Oh shit.
That does this very well. One of the things that the game does is, so you wake up and you're in an apartment, and the door is chained up and you can't leave, but then portals to Silent Hill appear in the apartment and you start being able to go into Silent Hill, and things are scary.
Oh shit.
So the thing that is really good is that's a recipe for something being frightening, because you're going into you don't know why you're locked in this apartment, and why the door is chained up, and why you can only leave to go into Silent Hill. But what really gets good is the game takes pains to establish the apartment as a place where you are safe from the terrors of Silent Hill, and that you get used to having this downtime between ventures into Silent Hill while you're at the apartment. But as the game goes on, it gradually things start to happen in the apartment, and then that's not safe, and then you're never safe. Right. And then that is how they give you the terror feeling. The trick is with horror is you have to pay attention to you have to establish a firm foundation,
things that they care about.
Yeah, you have to build a sense of what is normal
and what matters.
Yeah, this is why there are horror games that are just nothing but, like, horror video games that are just nothing but spook 'em up jump scares that do fucking nothing for me.
Right.
Because if you don't build a place for your player to exist in a world and feel somewhat safe sometimes, then you aren't actually, you can't be scary.
It's not grounded.
Yeah, because
you can't put yourself into it.
Exactly, because it's like, I don't live in a world where everywhere I look is just nothing but crazy bullshit all the time.
Right.
It's why pacing is really important.
Yeah. That's I think a thing that they talk about in Heroes of Horror, but yeah, it's important to kind of like let things be unsettling and hang kind of for a while. But the problem is, I think D&D kind of has a tendency against that. You want to get to the bottom of things immediately, so I think you got to just have things that don't have answers. So that kind of is like what dissonance is, things that don't get answered and kind of leave open questions, just like bad stuff.
Any combination. Chris Hastings says. Wait, mind Chris Hastings. Might know him for Dr. McNinja or the Amazing Gwenpool. He says that any combination of eyes and mouths, you're golden.
Right.
Like if you want to freak somebody out, just mix those around, double them up.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. Eyes where the mouth should be, mouths where the eyes should be. Your
eyes are tongues, the tongues are eyes, the eyes are teeth, the teeth are eyes.
Yeah, we don't like when those things are wrong.
Right.
So maybe they have eyes opening on their palms and they don't know why.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah. There you go. Maybe
Cronenberg in general.
A person with like another mouth that opens on their neck, and that's the one they speak from, and they have their actual mouth is sewn up. Maybe their eyes are just painted on on a bare skull, but they can still see you.
Right.
And they don't move until suddenly they blink.
Man.
Things like this. These are just off the top of my head. But.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. In terms of trope, it's like the uncanny valley kind of thing. The things that just are slightly off of the form, they just abhorrent to us inherently.
In the original, I can't remember what it was about, but it was in the original, when the essay that established the concept of the uncanny, the unheimlich, it's about like this doll that comes to life.
That's horrible.
But the eyes are wrong. That's the only way you can tell.
Right.
And this person is like looking through like binoculars and sees the doll like walking among the people in the street, and the doll like looks at them and has like the doll's eyes. And it's like a human-sized doll.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it like looks up and can see them.
Well, do that in the campaign.
Yeah,
that
there you go.
Scary.
You're welcome.
Well, okay, so in terms of Cthulhu, there's different old ones, right? Do they have different tropes associated with them, or does it all kind of blur together?
I don't know, man. I think
I never followed Lovecraft at all, so
I can't get into that boy.
But do you know?
I know that
you don't have to know. I mean, I certainly don't.
One is there's some indescribable color guy, and there's a guy who guards the gate or something, and there's Cthulhu's asleep underwater and can't die forever. And
right. So is Cthulhu the water one?
Yeah, he's the one from Call of Cthulhu. He's like the big original boy who the story ends with the guy sailing a ship into his face before he's like fully formed.
Not a train, huh?
No, it's not a train, as you said before.
That was what happens in the MMO, I think. In Ivan's MMO.
That seems like that would be more effective.
Yeah. You put like some dynamite in it.
It's just hard with Lovecraft because he's so racist.
Right, that's what I recall hearing about.
He's so damn racist, and then like you're like, well, maybe the writing will be so good that I can get past it, and it's not.
It turns out the indescribable color was just white.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing is, it's like it just gets to the thing. You're like, okay, well, I just want to make it to the part where it gets to the all undescribable, and it turns out, he's undescribable.
Right.
That's indescribable.
I would say describe it. Just pick anything. I know you kind of is a letdown, but you're doing something that's trying to explore it. Krakens, we talked, I think off the show, that Krakens are essentially stand-ins for Lovecraftian horrors in 5e, which is in contrast to their depictions in other D&D editions. So check into that. There's cultists in the books that talk about Kraken cults.
Yeah, they talk about merfolk who worship a Kraken. I think this has popped up in the game I am playing in.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
very excited. Rich has taken us to some fun places.
Yeah.
We had a whole political intrigue session. It was like 3 hours, no combat. It was great.
Damn.
I want to do a quick aside. There was this part where we had like stolen these different schedules from like these different political figures in the city. We had to like compare them and figure out who could have been the person that sent this message at some point, because they were the only one who wasn't in a meeting. And the way that he did this was he got 5 books out that he had gotten off his shelf, and we around the table had to put them in order based on alphabetically the name of the first name of the protagonist, first name of the protagonist's mother, and where the book takes place. Like, we had to stack these 5 books based on those criteria, and how fast we did that was how fast our characters were able to get the information.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really fun to have like a tactile, actual, instead of it just being like, roll investigation. Oh, well, you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Extreme Dungeon Mastering, a book that I've mentioned before, they talk about things like exactly that. Physical props.
They make you feel like you're in the world.
They bolster immersion.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can't. I don't think it's the Dean. Maybe it was Xanathar's Guide. I don't know. There's certainly a book that like has some more additions to like, oh, here's a Kraken cult leader who's like grown extra tentacles and fish gills because he's so culty or something. Like, and so I can't remember what book that is. It might be Sword Coast, but I couldn't.
Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide.
I don't. Yeah,
if that is indeed the thing.
I feel like I was reading it over the holiday break, but. Check out one of the many books of 5th edition.
Yeah, it's in there. Can you solve the secret of the things Spencer can't remember?
Use the hashtag.
He was driven high by the experience and can't remember it.
Curse of Scary. We're just going to use the same hashtag.
Curse of Scary, yes.
In terms of stats, the Deities Demigod book from like 2nd edition or whatever, it stats out Cthulhu. Maybe look at that.
Yeah, or just take a Kraken and don't actually let them beat it, because if they win against Cthulhu, that kind of defeats the purpose.
Also, Gibbering Mouthers.
Oh, Gibbering Mouthers are really
Gibbering
good.
Orbs.
Yeah.
Anything in that milieu you can kind of take some cues for in terms of stats.
Yeah, Gibbering Mouthers are really good. For the uninitiated, they are a monster made out of mouths and eyes, I think.
Yeah, very Lovecraftian.
That is just kind of talking crazy, and there's an aura around them, and like 20 feet around them is like difficult terrain, and like
they warp reality.
Yeah, they're basically like talking crazy, so crazy that the world turns crazy. And if you get killed by one, you are absorbed into it, and that's where they come from.
It's like Envy from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
That's right.
Well, hopefully they answered the question.
It's just like me. Envy. I can't do Envy. Envy's really hard.
Yeah.
I can do some of the other characters, though.
Envy's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What a great... They should make a role-playing setting system for Full Metal Alchemist.
You can either be... yeah, they could. You can be Ed. He'd be like a... Well, I guess he would be a fucking wizard, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he? He'd be a wizard with a transmutation special.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of various like schools of transmutation, the idea it's like, oh, I transmute gases, or oh, I transmute, minerals.
Yeah.
Because, obviously Al's like a prodigy, or Ed's a prodigy, but
they both are.
Most of the people just kind of are like, oh yeah, I got spark gloves and I do fire, and they kind of specialize.
The Flame Alchemist, or Colonel Armstrong,
or the guy that turns people into bombs. They kind of do a couple. They have themes, and it's like, yeah, you probably would focus on, oh yeah, here's all the different structures I can make with carbon or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's really good.
Seems like fun thing.
That's what greed does. That's his ultimate shield.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe Mage would be a good system for that.
Yeah.
I think it's a World of Darkness system. I can't remember. Anyway, what comes next? Loot table, huh? Do you want to answer, or do you want to stop answering a question?
I think we have answered the question
and start doing a bit.
Yeah. And somebody said thank, and then they also said, this anonymous person said, "Thank you for this podcast. I've learned a ton already. Thank you for writing, and thank you for letting us know that you didn't want your name."
And you're welcome.
Let's see. Okay. We're doing the thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think we came up with new ones. We'll do that next time.
That's fine.
All right. I'm gonna roll that boy.
All right. I'm rolling, and I rolled a 1, which is a societal monster.
Okay. You got the 10 of Cups, which is happiness, fulfillment, and celebration. Emotional fulfillment and happiness due to a deep sense of unity with the world around you. This card is about harmony and the joy that results from it, applying to your family, friends, and loved ones. There's a deep sense of community associated with this card.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of a pun, but it would be better to start talking on the podcast.
Okay.
The concept is enlightenment, like maybe Enlightenmen. Anyway, you work out the pun. But it's when a person reaches enlightenment, like true enlightenment, that psychic convergence creates like a being in the astral plane of like joy and unity and bliss, and they kind of just they exude positivity and luck and harmony with the universe, because it's so rare that people actually achieve true enlightenment. I don't know, you're a monk. Do you know what level monks might achieve enlightenment at?
I have played a monk. I would assume it would be like level 20.
Oh, you're not a shadow monk?
No, that was I played a character as shadow monk. Now I'm a shadow sorcerer.
Damn.
Yeah. A sorcerer of the shadow,
right,
from Xanathar's, and it whips ass.
Yeah.
Hellhound.
So you're a shadow sorcerer.
Yeah, I'm level 7 now. We leveled up again.
And how is your Hellhound?
I have not summoned him for a bit because we have been underwater.
Oh.
That whole thing. Oh, yeah, that whole thing was happening in like an undersea city. It was cool.
That's legit. That's another thing I've never really tackled. I think in like Nerd Poker, they do like a underwater setting pretty early, and I was like, hey, that's a cool idea. I've never done that. But
you didn't.
I still haven't. So
it was fun. We had like sharks. We had like sea sharks. I named mine Charybdis, which is the
monster.
It's the whirlpool monster from the Odyssey,
as opposed to the Scylla.
Yeah, who is I think a typhoon or a hurricane.
One of them has like
it's like a seven like a Jillian-headed tiger.
Right. Yeah. One of them has multiple things, and the other's a whirlpool.
Yeah, you had to sail between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild.
Anyway, it was wild. So the Enlightenmen, they kind of exude positive vibes, and they like cruise around like interdimensional party dudes. They kind of look like wispy beings of light, so people are like, whoa, what are you guys? And they're like, chill out, man, we're just here to hang. And then they kind of just watch what you're doing. They're super interested. Sometimes they ask meaningful questions, and they make you feel good about what you're doing. And if you're in a bad place, sometimes it kind of makes you realize that you're in a bad place. And if you're not, you gain pride in the fact that you're kind of cosmically where you need to be. So they kind of shine a searing light of truth and positivity because they're avatars of enlightenment.
So they're sort of like an enlightenmensch.
Enlightenmensch.
Yeah, like a really good guy who's made fun of enlightenment.
No, I get it. I think we all do.
Okay, I was just making it for the folks at home.
No, I think those are the ones who get it the most.
Oh, yeah.
Our audience is entirely familiar with Yiddish.
Yeah, just Yiddish.
Is that the language?
That's the one.
Okay,
you got it in one.
I'm really bad at everything.
You nailed it. You did a good job straight out the gate.
Now it's time for Loot Table or Brute Fable.
Part 2. The Cohen story. All right. I got a 2? What's that?
It's a monster-ass monster.
Okay. And I got the fucking tower again. So
that's so crazy.
That's sudden upheaval, pride, and disaster. I'm going to read it again. Inevitable destruction and the breakdown of something in our lives which we consider foundational. This is sort of, as I mentioned last time, the only unequivocally bad card.
I think they're all bad.
The only good thing about it is that everything's going to be destroyed, so you'll have some new room to do something new in your life.
Sure.
So we do say I got a monster that's this?
A monster-ass monster, in fact.
Okay. Okay, I'm thinking something that something that upheaval and disaster. What if it was something like a I'm trying to think of like natural disaster, something that causes that might be good, like something that causes earthquakes.
Yeah.
Or maybe like
I always associate the tower with lightning because in Saga Frontier there's a spell called the Tower based on arcane or on tarot cards.
Oh yeah, it's being struck by lightning for sure.
Like it just like it uses all of your MP that you have, and it just makes a really big lightning attack, and it's a really long and drawn out spell where it's just like blast all these lightning bolts, and it's like wow, and then it does like 2,000 damage, and you're like, oh, okay.
Is that not a lot?
It's not.
Okay.
And that's all your MP.
Well, the tower is always in the process of being destroyed.
By lightning.
It is being struck by lightning. It is, so I think, yeah, maybe some kind of lightning-based monster. Maybe like a lightning. Okay, what about a very fast serpent that, or like a bird?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a bird. It's a bird that dives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a bird, and the thatched roof of different castles and cottages and houses and stuff looks to it like its nest, because they're right round and kind of thatchy and stuff.
Right.
And so it streaks down in a powerful dive, but it dives so fast that it turns into lightning and strikes the building.
I think it would be cool if it turns into lightning and then it strikes things and then it hits with such force that it causes an earthquake.
Okay, yeah. So you get lightning and earthquakes at the same time.
Yeah. Which you don't think is related, because why would it be?
Yeah. It's a it's a falcon, but it's spelled FOWL. That's all I got this week, folks.
Well, okay. So it's a lightning bird.
It's a falcon. It either you get it?
I mean, I'm
going to say it either causes lightning or an earthquake. It either turns into lightning. It goes so fast that it turns into lightning and it starts a fire, or it doesn't go quite that fast, but it's still very fast and it hits the ground so hard that it causes an earthquake. And it's called a falcon. And that is what I have for you this week, friends.
Yeah.
Listeners.
I want to get a pun, though.
It is a pun.
I know it's a pun. I want to get a pun.
Oh, you don't. Oh, you want to have one?
Hawkicane.
A Hawkicane?
Nope. Okay.
Did you say Hawkicane?
Let's move on.
Did you say the word Hawkicane on our podcast?
And you know what that means. Time for a break.
Yeah. After that, we definitely need something.
What about Earthquake? Hey, Cohen.
Hello, Spencer.
How often does this happen to you? You're walking down the street
every day,
and you don't have a jar of beetles.
I could count on my fingers and toes how often this has happened to me in the last 20 days.
Well, have I got just the thing for you?
What do you got?
Bilson's Bottled Beetles.
Bilson's Bottled Beetles?
Bilson's Bottled Beetles.
Not the same Bilson who brought us the tarantula Tupperware.
The very same tarantula Tupperware, as well as cockroach cutlery.
That was a messy product.
Oh,
I didn't get through all the samples of those they sent.
It was biodegradable, but it turns out that's not the issue I have with my cutlery.
It was definitely biodegradable in the sense that my life was degrading.
Right, and you're biological.
Yeah, on a lot of levels. Those bloody, screaming cockroaches. Really, really brought down my Thanksgiving.
But that's why we didn't advertise those and only advertised tarantula Tupperware. And now, Bottled Beetles. Bottled Beetles contains 95, count 'em, 95 mostly living borer beetles.
Oh, yes.
From Warhammer, from Tyranids.
Oh, okay. No, it's a new entity. These beetles are terrified and furious, and the fact that they are so tightly packed means the only ones who are still alive are the ones who are tenacious enough to kill the others to eat.
Here's how they work. You load them into your sling like a normal bullet, but first you pinch off the head right before you let it fly. The borer beetle's pheromones will kick into action and it will home towards your target. As long as they're living,
Is this a thing from Warhammer 40K?
No, I mean, not explicitly.
Okay. Then I love it.
I mean, in Warhammer 40K,
No, it's
every
okay.
Tyranid weapon is some sort of biological entity, be that a bug, worm, or intestinal juice.
No, I do, and I love that shit. Yeah, no, it's good stuff. I've never played the game, but there have been many times when I couldn't sleep, and I read the Wikipedia.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It rocked me to sleep in the loving arms of that dead emperor guy.
Blood for the blood god, and skulls for the skull throne, and beetles for the beetle bottle.
Beetles, they'll bottle.
Beetles, now in bottles. If you get your beetles, make sure they're Bilson's bottled beetles.
Yeah, I have several jars at home.
They'll beat all your bottled beetles, Baron Bead.
They'll beat you off. You'll hate it.
And don't that just beat all? Beetle.
All right.
Beetle, beat. Beat. We should not.
Beat a dead horse. Okay.
Beetle, dead horse. And we're back.
I sure did enjoy that suite of products.
I
that
did as
beat
well.
Of products.
And as always, use the promo code HarmonQuest.
Don't.
Season 3 coming next year. Or this year?
Probably not this year. It is still
Well, I
Christmas.
think it'll come out.
It's Christmas time.
It's not.
Christmas time, that famous time of year. It's always Christmas time when it's the time of year. And don't you love that song?
This will drop the 2nd of January, I believe.
On the second night of Christmas.
My true love gave to me
a late podcast.
And telling me to go back to work.
Oh.
Okay, what comes next? Answering a question?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. What do we got? I got it right here. I got this. This one's ready.
We could just...
This one's on the hopper.
It's fine.
Okay, Okay, hey, first off, you guys are doing great. Spencer, you're the best. Cohen, you're cool too.
What the fuck?
That's what it says.
No, it doesn't.
It does say it.
I hate this.
I've been running a game for 5 players for a while now, and the players are around level 12. I'm having trouble keeping combat challenging without being either blatantly unfair or using so many monsters that the combat gets terribly slow. Part of this is likely my fault, as I tend to reward players by giving them too many powerful magic items. How can I keep combat challenging without making it boring or taking away all their stuff? Thanks. It's from Chad Tower. That's a good name.
Yeah, that's badass.
Oh, no, the Tower. Again, I'm plagued by this concept. Okay, so you gave your players too much magical strong shit, and now they're able to use it to beat the monsters that you have them fighting.
Yeah, well, there's a thing that... I mean, D&D's obviously, it's not like designed for you not to play pieces of it or whatever, but it's kind of designed for lower level play, in part because it assumes that not a lot of entities walking the earth, you know, the material plane at least, are level 12 in power. You know, like giants and stuff kind of approach that power level when they have character levels and stuff. But a lot of, you know, dragons are that power level the older they get, but there's not a lot of things that are that strong. They just don't come along very often.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a race to get to 20. But, okay, so you screwed up a little bit. At least in the sense that you gave your players powerful magical items, and now they are too good.
Right. I wonder what items they got.
I don't know. That's just the kind of detail we'd love to get in these questions.
Oh, yeah.
But
use the hashtag Curse of Scary to provide more details.
Yes, please do that, Mr. Tower.
Thank you.
So here's the thing. You say you're worrying about making it unfair, but you've already sort of stacked the deck heavily in favor of your players.
Right.
So I think having somebody show up who is at least a fair fight for them, which is to say equally well equipped, or at least, you know, some sort of advantage, maybe somebody who can use an anti-magic field.
Right, exactly, because that's the thing. If your characters are level 12, then they need level 12 foes. They can't just, a band of goblins is not going to threaten them. Like a band of level 15 goblins maybe would, but what's a level 15 goblin? That's an exceedingly powerful goblin, So like you really need to do stuff. Yeah, I was thinking like a beholder is great because they have anti-magic eyes and a bunch of lethal capacity. But yeah, I mean, I think that you generally in circumstances like this, you want to add layers of complication. So maybe it's the same enemies, but also they're fighting just like there's an acid floor, and then there's like spikes on the ceiling, or there's like acid that's magically on the ceiling,
or change the that's good,
and spikes on
or everywhere but the ceiling
in your eyes.
Oh, give everyone acid for blood. Make them take 10d20 ongoing acid damage every turn.
And the walls are made of blood, and your blood is made out of blocks. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that so pieces of an anti-magic field, or maybe rooms that are anti-magic field.
A chessboard. Like lay out the battlefield as a chessboard, and all the dark squares are anti-magic field, and all the light squares are doing damage to them.
Yeah, or like patches of moss if you want to make like weird blobs. If like different shapes could be like anti-magic moss. Wizards could have counter spells, dispel magic, or things that dispel magic or suppress magic. You said anti-magic, but yeah, counter spell is a big thing, and I think you can dispel magic items.
Yeah. I use as a sorcerer, I use counterspell a lot, and it is a lot of fun. It is an underutilized spell.
Very powerful.
I think when people are picking it, they don't always think about it because it doesn't. I might be speaking for other. I might be talking out of my ass.
I think this is fair.
I think that people underestimate the satisfaction of when you see like the enemy wizard, getting ready to cast like some big, crazy ass spell, just like. Especially because you can if your DM describes it satisfyingly, such as like they shoot lightning and you just catch it in your hand and like crush your hand around it.
That's cool.
That's how I described my character doing it, but my DM was nice enough to make that canon.
Like Kylo Ren stopping the Force laser.
Exactly. Like stopping power is it's good.
Yeah.
But what were we talking about?
This is counter spells.
Oh yeah, well, we were talking about counter spells really good.
Oh, you can also just like make the victory conditions differently. Yeah. Obviously, it's easier to kill monsters. Game. Like if 12 people are holding 12 separate hostages, your 4-person party might find it hard to win that. So like things that don't require them to just sacrifice nothing and kill people. That's going to play to their strengths. So maybe move away from that.
So there's a thing when the DMG describes how to set up encounters, and there's a table. And like based on the levels of the players, you basically do a formula, and it tells you like what would be like a easy encounter, a difficult encounter, a deadly encounter, or an impossible encounter.
And Xanathar's guide has a similar thing, but a different way to calculate that.
Oh, I need to check that out.
Yeah, check it out.
I will, and I'll report back next time. I would recommend...
Why don't you tweet at us using the hashtag Curse of Scary?
Curse of Scary. I would recommend start thinking of your players maybe as like 12 plus or like 13 or 14, and stat out a few encounters that way, and see what. Don't be afraid to have them fighting a monster that is way too strong. That they shouldn't, like maybe they need to lose a fight.
Right. That was something that I was thinking about. In Waterdeep, they have something where you fight a troll early on, but it just has like half the HP. So it's not...
That's like that thing I did for my players.
Right. That's the thing. You can take a strong thing and then add debuffs to it, and that'll bring down its challenge rating while still making it lethal and scary. And if they know what it is, even scarier, because they're like, oh, this is a fucking troll. You guys, that's like challenge rating 3 or 4 or something, I don't know, whatever.
Also, victory does, like you said, victory doesn't always have to mean killing. What if they're what if they're running away?
Right.
What if there's something is chasing towards them and the floor is falling away?
Yeah.
To really drive home that they should not be trying to stay and fight this.
That could be scary even for Lovecraft setting.
Yeah. Griffin handled this well in the Adventure Zone. There's a part where they are being pursued by a purple worm, but it's like a mega purple worm that has been like destroying this town over and over.
Right.
And the way that I think the way that he made the players not just stand and fight this thing, which they might have tried to do even if they've been told they should run, is he put them in a minecart that was, going like rolling away from it.
Right.
So they're, even though it was still like a stand and fight thing, they were being forced to run.
They were literally being railroaded.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
I think that's fine. I mean, you're a game designer. You don't want to add options that you don't want them to go down. So if you want them to run away, a good way to do that is forcing them to run away. I was going to mention that if you want them to run away, it is hard to make them realize that. They often think they can win.
It's
so
very difficult.
Big Trap, the idea of taking away the option to not run away, great choice.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So yeah. Anyway. Ha ha ha. Oh, good one, Cohen.
Thanks. Thanks.
So hopefully that answers your question. We had a quick sidebar.
Yeah, and I said a bunch of really funny stuff.
It got me going.
Yeah, if you don't think I was funny in this episode, it's because I saved it all for the sidebar.
Oh man, yeah, you guys don't even know. Anyway, let's go into Animals, our famous segment.
Yeah, this is alternate monster lore, where we take your favorite monster and we chop and screw it. We pimp your ride. We make it a new thing.
We flip your flop.
We've done beach vampires. We've done
O'Houlihan, the living pub.
very popular. Somebody wrote in about that. We'll get to that next week because we went too long.
Oh yeah.
What do we got? What do you think?
What about? Do you know about a woodwode?
A woodwode?
What you know about a woodwode?
I don't know a thing about a woodwode. What would I want to learn about a woodwode?
A woodwode is like a person, like a spirit that inhabits like a tree kind of plant form, and so it's kind of like a tree guardian, kind of like a wooden forest guardian kind of thing, almost like a treant, but like or like a golem.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a golem because I think it's like you take on this form as like maybe a druid becomes a woodwode to become like an eternal guardian or something.
It's like a wisp from Warcraft.
It's kind of like a wisp if a wisp was wearing a tree.
Okay, so that's fun.
I just brought it up. I don't know that we should do that.
Okay, so it's like a wood. It's like a tree. It's like a tree poltergeist.
Yeah, like or like a ghostly tree man.
Okay, so I think that the way that we change this, since we already did, I think we've done about 3 different tree monsters, or at least one, is we take this concept and we put it in the desert.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
a cactus code.
yeah, or a dune wode.
A dune dode.
Like I'm like just monsters made out of sand. Like
Yeah.
Oh, check it out. So here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They are any place where there has been. It's a place where there has been a battle that was so dark and terrible, and maybe there was evil magics being cast and blood rituals being invoked, that the land itself became blighted and nothing would grow there, and eventually a desertification process took place.
Oh no.
But the land was so deeply soaked with the blood of murder and nightmare mayhem.
That's my least favorite kind of blood.
I know, and I'm sorry to bring that up. I didn't think it was ever going to come up. I hate to invoke this particular kind, but the blood of nightmare mayhem
no.
has soaked into the sand, and now the sand soldiers fight their eternal battle over and over. The fight never ends.
Damn. Never?
No, they just keep like getting shattered, killing each other, and then you know what? It happens at night.
Mm-hmm.
It only happens at night.
Okay.
During the day, the sand is so the sun is so bright that it evaporates the blood and it can't stay in the sand, and it like pours out of the sand. But by night, the sand is given form. So you got your party and they're adventuring in the desert, and like they have to try to make as much progress as they can during the day, because at night, wherever they are, the sand soldiers come to life and attack them all night.
So how would you put a stop to this?
I think you would either have to Maybe if you had a priest,
You
maybe
drive
you had, like, a cleric.
a stake into the sand.
Well, I was thinking if you had a cleric, maybe they could like set up like an area that was consecrated or something.
Yeah, you'd have to get rid of the blight.
Yeah, but like I would think that you would basically have to try to get out of the desert. Or maybe
Sure.
there would be a tower at the center of this that you were trying to reach.
Mm-hmm.
This could be like a good ongoing environmental obstacle.
Yeah. So my pitch is not that, but I just want to get it out of my brain, obviously. But this is like, what if like a group of kind of maybe like Egyptian almost, but like a group of cultists, they all sacrifice themselves in a great ritual to become like this kind of living dune or like this kind of sand elemental, but its purpose is to keep the secrets of the desert buried. So it's like there's a tomb or something, and then they animate the sand to kind of cover and keep covered this stuff, and if anyone comes calling, and then it would like attack or whatever. Right. But it's like this would be like kind of like a way to protect like a sandy tomb or whatever. But I mean, that's a different take. But anyway, yeah, so it's like this crazy evil preponderance of sand warriors that
I like your way too.
No, I know, but I just wanted to say it.
Yeah, no, I like in
Sandhide secrets by the secret shore. Are you coming up with a name?
I'm trying.
Okay. Dune sand. Dune. Whoa, Dune. Like Wode.
Yeah.
Dune.
All I could come up with is Sand of Brothers, like Band of Brothers, and that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good job I've done.
Yeah.
I also had Can't Hold a Sandal, and that sucks.
Desert's Form.
I like
bloody sand blood.
How about just the Sand Soldiers?
The Sanders.
Or maybe the Silicon Knights.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a thing? Wasn't that a Silicon Knights? Wasn't that a video game company?
I think it is. Yeah. Well, isn't there like a term for guard that's like like something like sentinel? Like sand sentinels?
Siliconquistadors?
Siliconquistadors. Silicon's a bit of a stretch to sand, right?
Isn't that just what sand is?
It is, but it's like you gotta get there and then go, oh yeah, I see, whatever. Yeah. I'm not trying to be critical.
No. It's a fair critique.
Sandy Dauntless Dunes. Dune. Let's just cut all of this and go with yours. Okay. What was it again?
It was Siliconquistadors.
Siliconquistadors. You can use it in your campaign, and please do. I think, the idea of like ghosts kind of animating kind of like sand poltergeists is like a cool thing.
Yeah.
Also, another thing, just to always say things that I've been reading in D&D stuff, there's this monster that's like, you take a petrified creature, right? Because they've been fleshed to stone, essentially.
Yeah.
And you can alchemically do a spell to it to like animate it into like a walking statue. And you do that by like inserting a skull into the stomach cavity of the petrified thing. So if you like kill the petrified like walker, they have like a skull in their stomach, and it's fucking creepy as shit.
And that is creepy. I like that it implies a second murder.
Yeah, it's this weird, cool thing. I read about it. It's a cool image. The idea of like the stone cracking open and there's just a skull in the fucking stomach.
Yeah, it's like
weird.
The worst Kinder egg ever.
So that was Animals, and we got one last thing to do here before we can get out of town. Do you know what that is?
Is it my favorite segment, Fail Mail?
It is, assuming that's your favorite segment, which I am, because I'm assuming you're not lying right now.
Never lied a day in my life.
Holy shit.
I only lie at night.
Holy shit.
I'm a night liar.
A night liar.
Night liar. Truth is for the sun.
This is the ASMR minute, the moment of the show where me and Cohen whisper. I'm crinkling paper.
Down with the sickness.
Your mother gets up, your mom gets down with the sickness. Okay, let's slowly transition to a louder volume. This fail mail comes from the Discord, comes from Most Random Hero. In a campaign last year, we encountered a Formian nest. Rather than letting me or our sorcerer communicate, in parentheses, who had higher charisma stats, speak with the queen, our only cleric decides to engage her telepathically and says, he would take a magnifying glass to her if she didn't set us free.
Formians are bug monsters.
Giant bug men, ant-men, one might say. Needless to say, he failed his intimidation roll. We were all poisoned and enslaved and had to spend the entire next session fighting our way back out. That was particularly difficult because that same cleric was critically injured and we could not get heals.
Sounds like your relationship with that cleric probably turned antagonistic.
Fail mail. Send us your fails. Send us your mails. mastermanualpod@gmail.com. Master Manual on all the socials.
Master Manual Pod.
Yes, Master Manual Pod on all the socials.
On Instagram, Twitter. We got a Discord.
Oh, yeah. It's all popping off on the Discord. Come there and don't be racist.
No one has been, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and no one will.
If you do, people won't see it for very long and they won't ever see you again.
And then they'll wonder, was anyone ever truly there?
We have a very good administrator. Turbles is great. Love that, Turbles.
Oh, yeah. Turbles. Thanks, Turbles.
You're the best.
And until next time...
Looks like we booked it again.
Mastery. Manual.
It is.